Hi, I'm RP from 5x Growth, and in this video, I'm going to talk about success-driving strategic approaches for ad copywriting that can help to optimize your Google ad campaigns. So, it's not a secret that it takes less than 10 seconds to use the chance of catching the attention of potential customers. That is why having strong ad headlines, descriptions is crucially important. Two key concepts should be under consideration before starting to design the ad. So, the first one is the key performance indicator, the same as KPI of your ad, and the next one is the USP, unique selling proposition of the products or services for presentation in your ads. In terms of the KPI, you need to know what the success in your ads looks like. Is it about gaining leads, or is it about making sales, or do you just care about raising awareness for your brand, product, or service? Usually just raising awareness is costly because there is a risk that you may have no return from your ads at all. Let's critically assess together. If you are just doing an awareness campaign, that means that you will pay attention to the number of views, but you will not really concentrate on how much money has come back from your ads, because that's what the awareness campaign is, right? You're just making people know about you or your product. What you just care is to be visible to others. Mostly the awareness campaigns are recommended for large companies that are already established with a stable inflow of profit. Another reason for this can be that you can't accurately track how much from your awareness campaigns returns to you, which is your return on ad spend, right? And you can't either track what extent of your sales came from those awareness campaigns. Maybe because you might be running some other strategies, marketing strategies, in parallel to those ads. So yeah, you can't exactly track whether this awareness campaign caused the sale or there was something else. An example of a KPI can be hitting the target of 30 conversions per month. I'm just shooting some numbers for better understanding. Or it can be gaining 100 leads per month, or achieving a 300% of ROAS from your ads, which actually means increasing sales. So yeah, you need to understand what is your goal, which will help you to figure out how to position your ads, what wording to use, and what should be all other strategic considerations for ad copywriting that we will actually talk about during the rest of the video. Alright, when everything is clear with the KPI, it's time to set the unique selling proposition. In order to do that, you need to know your product really well, like really well. Back to the sales management school. The analysis and differentiation of your features, advantages, and benefits is what will help you to design really strong ad copyright. And of course, in addition, you need to do some competitor analysis to figure out how you can position yourself within the market. So let's dive in. The analysis of features, advantages, and benefits allows you to comprehensively address the strategy of benefit selling, because people buy the benefits of your product or service rather than the features or advantages. Yes, learning about the features or advantages is important for the customer to understand what are they actually buying. But what generates sales is the benefit. And if you have that in your ad copyright, then you have unlocked a winning position. Keep in mind that the benefits are actually about the needs of your target audience. So in your ad copyright, as you highlight them, that means you are actually sending some signals to your potential buyers that this is exactly what they are looking for. As you come to the point of competitor analysis, here on your screen you can see some important key points to consider while analyzing the strategies of your competitors. It could be a good tip to mark the effectiveness of the ad strength of your competitors. Or maybe you can just have a checklist where you can assess which of the tactics your competitors used to win the attention of potential customers. So how can you find where to put your unique selling proposition while there are many competing companies each pushing forward their unique selling proposition? I'll just show a very small example of how to exercise the competitor analysis for copywriting. let's say we're running a sports brand that aims to sell running shoes. So I would just simply Google the search term buy running shoes in the US to see what companies Google will show me, who are my top competitors, who I need to beat in order to be in the top search results. As you can see, at the top of the search results is written sponsored. The results that are marked as sponsored are actually paid results that appear on our screen due to the Google Ads. So yeah, let's see, what do we have in here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4 ads, and also organic results. Nike, of course. So yeah, and after some organic results, we will have again paid results. But let's stick to the top 4. What you want to do now is to enter their landing page to find actually what they are offering. What do they consider uniquely important for their customers? Okay, what I see here, I think this is a very exemplary landing page because it's easy to navigate. And more importantly, when I open it, the first thing I see is the main message that I need to know about this company. There will be a separate video discussing how to design strong landing pages, but as of now, as we're concentrating on finding our USP as opposed to what offer our competitors, I would say let's read and analyze together and gather some information about our competitors so that we can also understand how to position ourselves. What is this gap, this window that we can break through and enter into the market? Now, as we read the welcome note, we can highlight some phrases that we need to pay attention to. Okay, for example, here we have the huge range, price benefits, segments are revealed, again, thousands of deals, highlights the variety of range, which was already mentioned at the beginning of the sentence. And then it says, so you're sure to find something you love at a bargain price. So there is huge variety of options to choose between. Plus, they provide price benefits. Just to make sure that we're not missing things around, we can double check. For example, here about we see the price benefit again. We see the categories based on segments. We see the brands, the variety of brands again, as promised in the welcome sentence. Yeah, and the options to choose between. You might also want to go deeper into the website and have a small journey in there to see what they are suggesting, maybe discover some marketing tactics that they implement to support micro or macro conversions. I will cover the topic of conversions more in detail in the video of landing page optimization. But for now, as we are discussing the ad copyright, I suggest we go back to the search results after examining the website of our competitor, so-called, right? And see how our competitor managed to reflect its value proposition into the ad copyright. All right, we have number 1 running retailer, location, latest products from Adidas and other brands. So far, these were the features and advantages, but here is where comes the benefit part. The keyword is save on run, gym, etc. And then comes your favorite brands. Yeah, there is good consistency, and we can see that they included in their ad copyright the 2 main value propositions. One is the price benefits, and the other one is the variety of options, favorite brands, etc. Now, as a Google ad creator, you might do well if you take notes on this information that we just discussed together. In this example, if you're running a business that sells running shoes, It would be a very helpful practice to keep record of what value propositions have been positioned as unique selling propositions for your competitors. And just like we did for this one company, you will definitely need to go one by one with other competitors. Surely I won't do it now, but we can skim a bit together. For example, this other competitor briefly presents their advantage of having the latest selection, but I don't think that they present their benefits in here, right? I feel like there is no strong statement of benefits that they offer. Yeah, there is 1 day to day shipping presented as an advantage, but I'm not sure if this can be considered as a benefit, because benefit is something that you explicitly show your buyer that this is what they lack, this is exactly what their need is. For example, if they would want to include a benefit, they could just add a pain word like no waiting, get what you need tomorrow, something like this, just a spontaneous example. But if you just provide cold claims of what you are offering, that hits the level of an advantage but not benefit. Overall, the competitor analysis in copywriting can also give you some opportunities to identify what your competitors fail to strongly address in their wording strategy, because next we will also talk about what the strong ad copyright looks like. So yeah, while you are doing the competitor analysis, you're actually discovering the gaps in the market that may help you to stand out from your competitors. By the way, you can find more ideas for competitor research in the Auction Insights section from your Google Ads account. Typically, Google generates this suggestions of competitors after processing the data in your Google Ads account, which is based on the running ads. But now you need to note that what it generates is based on your campaign structure, which includes both the issue of keywords, the issue of your bidding strategy, and of course your copyright strategy. If you're using enhanced features, it will also try to gain some information from your website. But basically, if your copyright is weak and your keywords are not set appropriately, there is also a risk that you may find yourself in a completely wrong market, just because Google didn't manage to understand what you are actually selling. And based on this data that you have provided, Google will show you some of your competitors while it's bidding for your ad. According to this risk, you may enter to those suggested websites, and this will be a good opportunity for you to actually notice that you are not in the market that you need to be. So yeah, make sure you really consider your Auction Insights, because they provide really good signals for the strength of your ad campaign. So what should a strong headline look like in addition to your features and benefits? Certainly, it shouldn't be very long. No need to tire the eyes of your buyers. For shopping ads especially, you may need to consider to keep the number of characters up to 70-ish, maybe plus minus. Remember to not overcomplicate things. It is good that you may identify the features and benefits of your product out for sale, but at the same time, you need to remember to not overwhelm the buyer with too much information, even if it means that you are listing all of your benefits. Just keeping simple the ad helps to improve readability and accessibility of your buyer. Make sure you keep the punctuation in your headlines, be it by capitalizing the letters or including some symbols. It helps to catch the attention of your buyers easily. Another good life hack is to include your keywords in the headline and description of your ad. This habit helps to make your potential customers believe that there is a high relevance between your product and what they are actually searching for. There are actually plenty of additional ways to show your target audience that your product is relevant. You can mention the category of your product. For example, if you are selling a musical instrument, you may want to mention in the description or in the headline that the instrument is for, professional players or for amateur ones. It is also helpful to highlight the relevance by mentioning the location, just like we saw in the search results as we were doing a competitor analysis, remember? Here.
It said UK's #1 running retailer. You can go even closer and mention not just a generic location but specific, or you may just write the word local, which supports the search terms that include the word local. That means if a buyer would Google local musical shops around me, especially if you have that word in your headline, that gives a credit to you. Another way to strengthen the relevance is being responsive to seasons, holidays, or maybe major events that relate to your product or service. Be more dynamic in your responsiveness about what is happening around. When you show yourself timely, you send signals to the target audience that you are a fresher choice, up to date, and responsive. Note that clearly expressing the target relevance of your ad copy also saves you lots of wasted money, because you get charged by Google when non-relevant audiences enter to your website through the ad and not really convert for actual returns. So at the end of the day, you are not able to monetize your traffic. So yeah, being considerate about this is helpful. Moreover, you cannot secure a good deal with your leads if you don't take care about your trust issues. You can show your credibility by mentioning about your qualifications or expressions like award-winning, certified, or you can include some testimonials confirming your credibility, expertise, etc. I'd say using site link extensions in your ad for testimonials can be a good option for driving more micro or even macro conversions. And finally, keep your ads dynamic by including some call to action phrases to your ad copy. You may launch more campaigns that create tension of missing out, but please make sure you actually follow the timing of those campaigns. For example, you may launch the sale for 30% off and mention that it is only for example, 1 week. So if you launch it, you also need to follow up that the 30% off is actually for 7 days, right? Not more, not less. You can't have the discount all the time, right? Otherwise, the aim of the campaign loses its meaning. By having this in mind, you can make the ad even more dynamic by sending command signals. For example, buy the last models of this season. Dramatize the situation by including countdowns in your ad copy, like 3 days left, only for this week, etc. Anyways, the tactics are many. All you need to do is to adjust to your product to generate the most out of what you can have. Coming back to the Google Ads account, you have the option to use responsive search ads, RSAs. These are flexible Google Ads combinations of headlines, descriptions, and all other necessary assets needed for your Google Ad campaign. The combinations basically happen based on machine learning insights. With RSAs, Google tests different combinations of ad headlines, descriptions, and analyzes which combination brings most of the conversions or serves your target bidding strategy. At first glance, you may think, oh cool, this is a great privilege to benefit from machine learning because different combinations are tested, but I would say be careful, because especially when the ad copy is poor, your combinations may reduce the effectiveness of RSAs. You may have the choice to design, for example, 10 headlines, out of which Google will choose to show your ad with different combinations, but is it worth having many headlines with middle strength, or maybe having just 3 really strong headlines with targeted positioning? Of course, having less headlines with specific and strong positioning is better than having many headlines that may reduce your return on ad spend. It is good to keep constant track of your assets so that you can apply timely changes to your headlines or descriptions if necessary. That's actually how you can measure your RSAs. You can pay attention to which assets bring more expensive conversions, and that can help you to understand how to move forward with your ad copy positioning. This means you not only need to pay attention to your impression share, but also how many from your impressions generated conversions. Similarly, you can track your RSA's performance impact on CPA or return on ad spend. If, let's say, your cost per acquisition goes up, but you have checked all your keyword settings, bidding strategy, etc. In other words, your account structure is fully fine and set according to your KPI needs, but still you notice a negative performance in your CPA. That is, it's rising and not bringing enough conversions. This alerts you about your ad copy per performance, which you may want to improve. Same for return on ad spend. If your returns are diminishing, analyze your RSA assets. Remove those performing poorly and focus on the wording strategy that helps you gain higher value of conversions.
You also have the option to pin some of your headlines if you believe that it can help your ad performance. But avoid keeping just one headline in a fixed position because it causes ads to decrease performance effectiveness. Why so? Because this forces Google to lose its flexibility in testing and optimizing through machine learning. Thus, the ads will start having lower ad relevance, causing you to appear less competitive in the market. But if you pin, let's say, 2 or 3 headline variations, it will still give you brand control, but at the same time allows Google to rotate among those pinned headlines, maintaining flexibility and higher participation in the competitive market. Yeah, competitors are important for Google because remember, as we discussed earlier, the machine learning helps Google to fill in auction insights, and that's a critical factor for you for analyzing your ad performance. Well, if your workflow isn't powered by AI, are you even in this century? In your ad copy, you may use some AI power for brainstorming and gaining some good ideas on headlines or descriptions. With all of the tips suggested earlier, you can combine this information and provide detailed instructions to AI for generating optimized headline options. Just start by following the basic instructions of how to use actually AI and how to provide good prompts. So one of the most effective prompts that we will need to use actually for ad copywriting when using AI is assigning role to the machine. You need to clearly explain the machine what role they are working for. It just helps to gain more accurate results, the results that you want to have. So in this case, we want the machine to be a copywriting expert. Then go ahead with providing as much detailed information as you can, because AI basically works based on the information you provide. You may insert your website URL, provide some really strong keywords you believe can best describe your service, provide technical order like how many characters you expect them to be, how many headlines do you want AI to generate for you. You can command the machine to analyze your product or service and identify your USP through website and other information you may consider sharing. This can give you cool ideas for optimizing your headlines. Or you can even ask AI to use those USP suggestions and generate headlines. And of course, you can go ahead with designing your descriptions in the same way. You may also include some instructions about tone of language to be implemented in your headlines or descriptions, whether you want some humor, call to action, or positive sentiment, and anything that you know is important to include in your ad copy.
This much for ad copywriting tips. Hope you find this helpful for your ad optimization goals.